Forever 21, the fashion chain for teens, is filing for bankruptcy. Now, the company says it plans to close more than 170 stores in the U.S. and most of its outlets in Asia, Europe, and Canada. It will continue operations, though, in Mexico and Latin America. Clare Sebastian has been following this story today. Perhaps not a big surprise. I must say, you pointed out to me this morning why I was always so exhausted going into Forever 21. It was always so overwhelming. And that has to do with a business plan that really did not go anywhere good.
Right, exactly. I mean, there are external factors. There are the headwinds that we know affect retail, things like people shifting online, people shifting away from malls. Yes, they are victims to that as well, but they have also made decisions that, I think precipitated their own decline as well. They expanded really rapidly. There's interesting stats in the bankruptcy filing itself. In 2005, they had 7 international stores. By 2015, that was 251. Wow. They had, 500 plus in the United States. They were huge as well. You were talking about how overwhelming it is. These stores were, the average was 38,000 square foot. That's really kind of the average size of a supermarket, not a clothing store. So they're dealing with really high rents, with managing the inventory in stores like that. It makes them much less nimble when things don't go their way, which is exactly what happened in Europe and Asia. They didn't really respond well to the kind of designs, the kind of merchandise they had, and they couldn't turn it around quick enough because they had so much of it out there. So I think that's really the core of what we're seeing here.
It's caused a tremor as well in the commercial real estate world.
Oh, yeah, for sure. This is a big mall tenant. They are the 7th biggest tenant for Simon Property Group, which is the biggest mall owner in the States. Brookfield Property Partners, they're the 5th biggest tenant. So it's about, for Simon, it's about 2% of rents overall. So they're not as big a stores as, say, the anchor tenants. They're like
it's still going to matter going into
But it still matters because it might not be the last shoe to drop as well. And, we've seen in the past that these mall owners, they really care. They cared enough in the case of Aéropostale to come in the case of Simon Property Group, and actually invest in this failing store to stop it from failing. So I think, there has been some speculation that could happen here. The CEO of Simon Property Group didn't rule out that he could do it again in the future.
You'd need the real estate money, the rent, the money that badly. 2 other things I want to talk to you about with this story, though. This whole discussion of disposable fashion. Was that really the route to be going under? And obviously, the lack of a real dynamic digital or online business.
So two really interesting things. It's like a more recent trend, I would say, than actually the shift to online and that big secular shift within retail. People are now looking for sustainable fashion, and that is not, sadly, what Forever 21 is. They are the kind of store where, kids back in my day would go and buy, another $5 T-shirt every single weekend. That is not what young people today increasingly are looking for. They want to invest in items that they don't then have to throw away. It's a more kind of climate-oriented consumer, I would say, and that they were on the wrong side of that for sure. So that is another part of this.
And of course, again, the online wasn't. They're going to try and expand.
They are going to try and expand. This is interesting because they're not actually doing as badly as you might think. 16% of their sales are e-commerce, and they say that we're lagging behind our peers. But actually, H&M was only 14.5% last year, so they're not doing too badly. But they are obviously targeting more, and they have to be more nimble, and they have to do better with mobile.
Yeah, and we'll see in the next few quarters how it survives and in what form. Clare Sebastian, thanks so much for coming in.